Welcome to the NIOS studio. In this video, we will know about yarn making. I hope you must have understood about fibers and also about the different kinds of fiber. There are various ways to test them to find out various kinds of fiber. And when fibers are put together and they are given a twist, this way a yarn is made. Yarn is nothing but a long continuous length of interlock fibers. Strands of fibers are brought together to each other by twisting. The yarns can be used for various purposes like sewing, knitting, embroidery, and rope making. There are various kinds of yarns, and if you see the fibers having twisting together to form a yarn, you will understand that the fibers of which the yarn is being made and they are twisted together to form. This one is complete yarn. Now, when the yarns are formed by the process of spinning, in which the group of fibers are pulled, drawn, and twisted together to make a yarn, the twist given in fiber can be of two types. One is the Z twist and the second one is S twist. Z twist is an anti-clockwise direction, whereas the S twist in the clockwise direction. The quality and the strength of yarn is affected by the number of twists you give per inch. Lesser the number of twists per inch, bulkier and less strong is yarn, whereas more the number of twists, finer and stronger is the yarn. Yarns are spun by two methods. The first one being the hand spinning, and the second one is the machine spinning. Let's talk about hand spinning. It is generally done on charkha, and the yarn spun on charkha have different thickness. Thick yarns are used for making floor covering. Medium thickness yarns are used for making opposite items, whereas fine quality yarns are used for making dress materials. Talking about the manufacturing process of yarns by machine, it involves various steps. The first one being cleaning. The second is carding. Third is combing. Fourth is spinning. And fifth being the winding. Firstly, we will talk about the first process of cleaning. When the natural fibers are harvested or collected, they contain a large number of impurities like dry leaves, stems, seeds, dust, etc. And the cleaning process is required. Therefore, further after the yarns are clean, they are carded, which is done in the carding step. In this, the yarns tend to get matted and tend to stick to each other. Thus, in the carding process, the yarns are open, they are parallelized and make in a form of sliver. The carded waves of fiber turns into a rope, and that is called as sliver. The third step is that of a combing. It is an optional step. It is used for making fine quality yarn. The carded slivers are combed to separate long and short fibers. With the help of series of combs, combing is very similar to the combing which we do with our hairs. It is generally done to parallelize the yarns to remove the knots which have been created during the formation of the yarn, and also to remove the short fibers which have been left in the carding process. Next, the fourth step is that of the spinning. The carded and the foam slivers are further drawn and spun into yarns, and lastly, the yarns which have been spun are winded on different packages. The yarn is wound on different packages according to their weight or length of the yarn and its end. Use the example. For example, being the ball, which is generally used for hand knitting, reels or bobbins, which are used for sewing machine. Now the yarns can be classified on the basis of the structure. Yarns can be classified into two types. The first one being simple yarn, and the second one is being the novelty yarn. Simple yarn can further be classified into two types: single strand yarn and multi-strand yarn. Multi-strand yarn can also be known as ply yarn. And the second novelty yarn can also be of different types. that is knotted yarn. Second is loop yarn. Third is slub yarn. Fourth is feather yarn. Let's talk about the simple yarns and its types in detail. Simple yarns have uniform thickness. They have smooth surface. They have equal number of twists per inch along its length, and most stranded fabrics for clothing and household use are made using these yarns. The simple yarn can again be of two types. The first is the single strand yarn, that is an assemblage of fibers evenly twisted together. The second are the ply yarn, where two or more simple yarns are twisted together to form a ply yarn. They can be turned as 2-ply, 3-ply, or 4-ply. You can easily see the diagram in your book. Two single yarns which has been twisted together to form the 2-ply yarn. In this, there are 3 single strands which are twisted together to form a 3-ply yarn. And similarly, if there are 4 single yarns which have been twisted together to form a 4-ply yarn. An example is a 4-ply yarn. On twisting it, we find that it is made up of 4 strands of yarns. These are the single yarns, and when twisted together, they are forming one 4-ply yarn. The next is cord yarn, which is a multiple strand yarn. 3, 4, or 5 ply yarns are twisted together to get a cord yarn. They are generally used for making ropes. In the diagram, it is clearly visible that 3 single yarns are making a ply yarn. So, this yarn is a 3-ply yarn, and 7-ply yarns are being used together to form a cord yarn. After the simple yarn, the second category is that of the novelty yarns. You must have seen your surroundings, or you must have seen on the cushion cover, curtains, your dresses, that there are few yarns which provide the different kind of texture and appearance to your garments or the fabric. These yarns are the novelty yarns, which are created using many unusual features to add different texture and appearance to the fabric. They are fancy yarns, which brings an unusual look, variation, and interesting effects to the fabric. These fabrics are bulkier and softer to touch. Talking about different kinds of novelty yarns. The first one are the loop yarns, which have loop placed continuously along its length, and they are generally used for woolen fabric. The second one are the knots or knops yarn, which have knots made along the length of the yarn. The example being woolen and scarf. The third category is the slub yarn, which has ornamental effect in the form of soft, untwisted, thick and thin, and twisted areas at frequent intervals throughout the length. That is, some areas are twisted high, whereas some areas are left untwisted, in order to create an effect of thick and thick yarns. The fourth category is that of the feather yarn, also called chenille yarn, because they are soft and fuzzy surface. They are used to make rugs because they add 3 dimension to the rugs. They are also used to create pile. Now, after the yarn's fabric is being made using various techniques of weaving, knitting, felting, netting, etc. All those techniques of weaving, knitting, you will learn in some more videos. In this video, we talked about yarns and the process of yarn making. I hope you must have understood this process. You must study your book as well. Study well, work hard. Thank you so much.